Hello and welcome. My name is Matthew and I'm here today to showcase what I've been working on over the last year. Since September 2019, I have been developing an experience that is designed to test the functionality of various mechanics in the field of character development and attachment. Using my research and feedback collected from my peers, I chose to focus on a select few pre-existing mechanics as well as develop new ones to complement them. This project was also designed to nourish my development as a designer as well as improve my knowledge of character development mechanics. The experience is in total around 1 hour long and uses procedurally generated story elements to ensure that playthroughs are always unique. The playtime in particular was an important aspect from the beginning of this development process, as to fully ensure mechanics were as effective as possible, the player had to have a good amount of time with their characters. In the following segment, I will break down the mechanics I have chosen, explaining the development processes and reasoning behind my choices. Feel free to use the timecode shown now to skip ahead to specific mechanics. At the start of the experience, players are given the opportunity to create their characters. In this stage, the player may choose their characters' names and appearances, as well as learn about their efficiencies and background. In each playthrough, the player receives a character who is most efficient in combat, another that is most efficient in crafting, and a third who is most efficient in trading. Characters are given random backgrounds based on their archetypes each playthrough, and this allows the player to have unique characters every playthrough without sacrificing the balance of their experience. This stage of the experience enables the player to have control over their characters from the beginning. This was important as from my research I learned that a player's ability to control aspects of their character often directly influenced their ability to see their character as a personal avatar. Whilst my creation system is simple, it follows the art style of the overall experience and gives the players approximately 860,000 possible character appearance variations. This makes it possible to create simple, varied and effective characters. After creating their characters, the player is sent to the main menu of the experience. From here, they are able to view their available missions, character profiles, and enter the crafting screen. The crafting system in this experience is more akin to a trading system. However, the player's ability to craft each weapon is dependent on their available blueprints. These blueprints are collectible items which the player finds throughout their playthrough. After collecting a blueprint and assuming the mission they are collected on is completed successfully, the player will be able to craft the weapon for a set fee. The fee a player has to pay is dependent on which characters they have available to them, as their crafting character is able to craft weapons cheaply, whereas their trading and combat characters will have to pay more to access the weapons in this way. Enabling players to access new equipment in varied ways adds to the progression felt in the game, as well as offering the opportunity for character strengths to be shown tangibly. This is important as my research and feedback sessions helped inform me that character attachment is most effective when a character's strengths and weaknesses are shown as well as explained. When accessing the profiles of their characters, the player is presented with a profile screen like this. From this screen, the player is able to view their character's background and relationships. The relationships shown will consist of the character's immediate family as well as other playable characters who are now acquaintances. The player can also edit and upgrade the character's equipment as well as upgrade the character's abilities and attributes. When editing their character's equipment, the player is able to move items from their base cache to the character's inventory and equipment. They can also move ammunition and money between the character's inventory and the base cache. Additionally, players can customize their character's weapons, adding attachments to improve the weapon's handling and effectiveness. In total, there are 60 weapons in the experience, all of which have their own unique attachment capabilities. This control over their character's equipment enables the player to have a greater control over the situations in which their characters will perform best. Furthermore, the number of possible weapons enables players to access weapons that they are familiar with. When the player is ready to begin a mission, they will initiate the mission briefing phase. This begins with a player briefing, which is a key stage in the development of the story and enables players to understand the nature of the mission. In total, there are 4 story missions in this experience, which leads the player and their characters on a journey to defeat the enemy. There is also an additional mission in the event that the character is taken hostage. However, I will cover that later in the video. After continuing past the player briefing, the player is taken to an interactive character briefing cutscene, in which the player and their characters discuss the upcoming mission and decide which character should be chosen. In total, there are 55 unique conversations to be seen in the experience. Should the player complete the game flawlessly, they will only see 4 of them. However, should a character become unavailable, the briefing conversation will change to account for their absence. As you can see in the examples being shown, the conversations change dynamically depending on who is available. At the end of the conversation, the player is given the opportunity to choose which character will be used in the mission. Although completely up to the player, each conversation does have a suggested character, which enables the characters to react to the player choice dynamically, depending on whether the player's choice is the same as the suggestion. These reactions increase the effectiveness of these short interactions, as the player is shown how their choices have consequences on the characters. Being able to interact with their characters helps to enhance the player relationship with their team, as it allows them to see their character's personality in relation to each other and player choice. Additionally, the dynamically selected conversations ensure that the same story is told in unique ways that continue to be cohesive. After the briefing phase, the player is given a final opportunity to change their character's equipment and upgrade their powers before the mission begins. During missions, the player takes control over their character. Playing in a third-person perspective enables the player to see the character they created, as well as notice very subtle changes to character movements. These changes include visible weapon handling differences, as well as agility and character handling changes. Each character handles differently in a very subtle way to give the player a visual example of how efficient their chosen character is in combat. This is an important detail as it enables me to show character strengths in gameplay as well as during UI usage. Using weapons in the experience is designed to be challenging and somewhat realistic. Weapons have different fire modes such as single and automatic, as well as recoil and range differences. This is designed to make each weapon viable in its own way, with shotguns extremely effective at close range, whilst rifles and light machine guns offer significant efficiency at longer distances. Furthermore, reload speeds and ammunition capacities affect a weapon's reliability in certain situations. Asking the players to think about these details keeps the gameplay realistic and fast-paced. Additionally, the brutality of combat is such that players is more likely to approach firefights cautiously, planning routes of engagement to ensure their character is not killed. As mentioned earlier, each character has abilities that they may use in missions. The combat character is given a blink ability, which enables them to teleport forwards instantaneously, as well as a shielding ability, which gives them a higher damage resistance whilst active. The crafting character is given the ability to slow time, which allows them additional reaction time to enemy movement and attacks, as well as the ability to cloak themselves in order to infiltrate spaces undetected. The crafting character, however, is given the ability to stun enemies, which renders the enemy briefly immobile, giving the player a chance to pass by or gain an upper hand, as well as the ability to silently kill enemies, offering them options when in combat. These abilities can be upgraded from the character screen in order to improve their cost and effectiveness, as can be seen with this example of the blink ability being improved. By giving the player the ability to improve their character's abilities, they are given a tangible sense of progression and development, as well as an additional level of control over the route their characters take. This improves the player's ability to become attached to their character, as their choices directly impact the handling and efficiencies of said character. Depending on the outcome of the mission, several things can happen. If the player completes their objective successfully, they may return to the menu with their character and their character's equipment still available, as well as all found blueprints added to their crafting capabilities. Should a character be killed, then the player will return to the main menu without their character. Permanent death is the name of this mechanic, and it is often used in squad-orientated games such as XCOM and Wasteland, in order to add weight to the loss of a character. If a character is killed, they become unavailable for the remainder of the playthrough, their equipment is lost, and the player will have to try the mission again. This loss of a character can become incredibly decisive, as it may lead to the player losing out on crafting capabilities, as well as weaken their team going forward. The player can, however, negate some of the negative side effects felt by the death of a character by choosing to surrender. This, like a character's death, will render the character and their equipment unavailable to the player. However, unlike a character death, this change may not be permanent. In the event of a surrender, the player is returned to the main menu with a new mission available. This mission is to rescue the character that has been captured and enables the player to return their squad strength as well as receive bonuses to character stats. Additionally, completing a rescue mission will update the character relationships tab, improving the involved characters' relationships from acquaintance to friend and even ally. I am incredibly happy with how this mechanic has worked, as it offers the player the ability to avoid a death, which can be incredibly important to their playthrough. Additionally, adding incentive to the mission ensures players don't miss the opportunity for further character development. Should the player complete all the missions available to them, then the story will end and the player will be given the opportunity to play in a sandbox mode, experiencing all weapons in the game and having the option to continue fighting enemies for as long as they wish. The ability to continue using the characters you have developed, I feel, is important to the ending of the experience, as the player has taken the time to develop their characters and could be left underwhelmed if they suddenly lose their characters after completing the game, which could spoil the attachment they have formed. However, should all the player characters become unavailable at the same time through death or surrendering, then the game will end on failure and the player will return to the main menu to begin from scratch. This unapologetic approach to the experience ending further increases the weight of player choice when selecting characters for missions, which adds to the loss felt should a character become unavailable. The mechanics I have created and chosen to focus on have allowed this experience to become a well-polished playable journey, and I am pleased with the resulting effects of these mechanics at cultivating unique and interesting characters which the player can develop dynamically throughout the course of an operation. The inclusion of weapon customization allows the player to quickly grow an arsenal of intriguing weapons and offers players who like to explore and collect the opportunity to progress in a meaningful way. Additionally, the interactive briefing phase allows the player to have meaningful glimpses of their character's personalities, as well as receive reactions to their choices, which help sell the character's presence in the experience. Working on this project has been an incredibly enjoyable experience, which has allowed me to develop as a designer. I now feel confident in my ability to develop new and existing mechanics for the purpose of character development. This segment has been a breakdown of the mechanics I chose to focus on during the development of this project. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to see a full narration-free playthrough of this experience from the beginning till the end. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and feel free to follow the link in the description, which will lead you to my blog where you can find out more about the Pixie. Thank you for watching.